My name's Naomi, I'm 23 and I'm a researcher at ITN, and alongside that I write, act and present. I studied a little bit for, obviously, school that you have to go to, and then I did my A-levels. After I finished my A-levels, I decided that university probably wasn't the right path for me. There just wasn't anything drawing me to go and nothing that I really wanted to study. So I went and worked at Nando's for a little bit, and after I'd finished grilling chicken, I decided that I would go and work a contract job at a financial firm called Deloitte. And so I went from kind of stacking envelopes on a regular basis, working incredibly hard, reading countless FRC documents, all the way up to FTSE 100 audit, and working in like an incredible team surrounded by these really senior leaders, which was an amazing experience. And I absolutely loved the feeling of being this power businesswoman and young and excelling, especially because I hadn't gone to university and that felt like I was going against the grain a little bit. I did eventually decide that the financial sector wasn't for me, and as I'd had quite a creative upbringing, I decided to come over to the media and over to film and writing. I then freelanced for a little bit and started working as a researcher at ITN, and I now have a really flexible, great contract with them that allows me to kind of work 9 till 5 and be in this incredible environment with some very talented people, and alongside that I get to write, present and work along on my own projects, which is more than I could wish for. The transition from the financial sector over to the media definitely was scary initially. It was kind of leaving this financial security of getting paid every month and this job that I'd really come to know, and moving into something a completely new ground that I didn't really have any experience in, apart from obviously training when I was younger. Admittedly, as much as it was scary, it was also equally fulfilling and liberating and exciting. And I think I knew that the second that I knew that finance wasn't right for me, I knew that it was time to make that the leap and the transition. And I'm really grateful for doing it. And whenever people talk to me about wanting to switch stuff up, I never think it's too late. I never think that there's not an option to. At the end of the day, it's your life and you need to, make the most of it and enjoy it. And so in order to do that, if you have to change career, then do it. I'm really interested in the topic of urban isolation and my generation's approach to loneliness. So I've been talking a lot about sort of how that impacts young people, writing a lot of articles and a lot of content. I'd really like to eventually make a documentary series that talks about these sorts of topics and all of the different impactors from like social media and the 21st sort of century expectation of romance and how we date, kind of hone those all together. I also have been interviewing a few people over the course of the past few months about their approach to loneliness and their kind of experience with it. So I've talked to a lot of young people. I talked to an international student, so she went to lots of international schools and she sometimes feels like she doesn't have a sense of self, and we explored that topic and its relation to loneliness. So yeah, like lots of creative stuff that runs alongside the research that I do at ITN. I also freelance doing some acting jobs here and there, like where I can, essentially. Someone once told me that I need to make the most of my transferable skills. So even though I transferred from the financial sector all the way over to the media, which are two completely separate industries, there's so much that you can take from the financial sector and transfer into media that I didn't realise. And as much as the more I focus on those skills and how much I can utilise them in both industries, the more I seem to excel in either way and kind of feel like I was capable of anything. I'd say the majority of influences and figures that have inspired me across my career have been women. Mostly because there is, something to relate to there, because it's a little bit harder for us sometimes to make it to the top. So definitely a couple of the partners that I worked with at Deloitte were incredibly inspiring, motivating. Watching them have families and watching them be these big power partners and do all of this stuff was very inspiring. And then of course my mum as well, just kind of like fighting the way for me, telling me that I could excel in any career that I wanted to, which was why I had the confidence to jump from the financial sector all the way over to media, like overnight. I don't meet a lot of people that have done the big career transition, so to find people that have like moved from one industry to the other and have their understanding and their experience of that is really, really valuable to me. I definitely feel like I'd need a mentor. I'd need guidance. I'm quite young and I'm looking for where to go in my career. I don't know exactly what I'm doing yet. I'm, still a bit all over the place, but with a clear sense of direction of creative success that I want to have. But then on the contrary to that as well, I do feel like there's a level of inspiration that I could provide from somebody that is looking to jump from one career to the other, because I think it's something that seems monumentally scary, and a lot of the time it is when you're tied down to things and when you've got responsibilities and stuff, but then on the other hand it's very liberating, and for me to be able to share how liberating that is, I think is something that would be helpful. It would be that you don't know what you have to do yet, there is a multitude of avenues that you can explore, and even if you go down one for 10, 15 years, it doesn't matter. You can switch it up and change it round. I think as long as, you know, in your belly and in your mind, you always know that there's the opportunity for you to change and basically kind of use the world and all of the tools and all of the people that you meet as much as you can, then you'll be fine. Don't stress.